Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. This morning we are going to have a brief discussion on a decisive turning point. That is the topic of discussion, a decisive turning point. Very good turning point. So, turning point with this, we are well acquainted. Suppose you are beholding, enjoying a cricket match. Some good batsman is there, he is performing well, the team is about to win, there is a bright possibility of team's victory, and the opponents, they are disappointed, they are worried what is going to happen, they don't know what is going to happen. Anyway, it is a very confused position. In that position, all at a sudden, something went wrong. The batsman got run out, or played a wrong shot, or out of misfortune he was declared out, for which his team, which was supposed to win the victory, the game, actually it failed to achieve. So people feel under this captain, they feel this was the turning point. Like this, it was in cricket, it was in game. So likely, it is in your life also. You have seen the turning point. You were moving in a direction, but the thing went wrong. Very good position you were, but something went wrong. You lost your luck, your any accident, you met with an accident or something went wrong. Life turned otherwise in the opposite contrary direction. You can claim this was the turning point for which I lost the game. So again, you can find a turning point in sadhana also. You can find. I was just moving here and there. I had no option, no aim, no objective. Some rishi, some sannyasi came in my life, and his advice, his guidance was a turning point in my life. This is what you have seen. People who have been elevated to a higher pitch, or they have descended to the lower hell. So you can claim that this was the turning point of my failure or my success. Anyway, here mother turns the decisive turning point. Decisive turning point, mother quotes beautifully, tries to explain. At the moment we are at a decisive turning point, where really we stand. Exactly, I can't say. For me, it is unknown when this was written by the mother. But thing was that on that day, on that point, particular point, mother has quoted, it is a decisive turning point where really we are in the history of the earth. In the history of the earth, we are at present in a turning point. Something has to be done. Haphazardly and confusedly, we can't move forward or move back, or standing simply will stand at the present position where we are standing, we are now. But thing is, it is a decisive turning point we are at in the history of the earth, not only in our history, in our family's history, or in our relatives, or our state history or country's history, in the history of the earth. Once again means it has happened before. पहले भी ऐसे हो चुका है और आज भी हो रहा है. This is what we are having once again. This is the turning point in the history of the earth. From every side, I am asked, what is going to happen? That is the question. You can find Corona. You can find Ukraine-Russia war. You can find the aggression of China. You can find the European and the NATO policy. So nobody knows what is going to happen. Once upon a time, one point was there when Russia predicted, if I invade, or if I just threaten of invading Ukraine, definitely considering their power, their position, they will come and surrender. There is no other go for them. But months have passed. Simply, situation is not that much, conducive. So this so many ways, there is a debacle in world history. Nobody knows what is going to happen. West, they are helping, and China, Russia is also getting China and India. So many ways there, so some support. and they are interrelated in one way, that war and proxy war, silent war, cold war is going on, and a direct war is going on, and another side that commercial facilities are there. Nobody knows what is going to happen. Even use of nuclear weapons can't be denied. So that is the turning point. Mother course at that point when see, considering the point of time, situation and the scenario changes according to the go of the times. Here, mother course, I am asked what is going to happen. That is what is going to happen. What next? What is the scenario? Everywhere there is anguish, expression, expectation, and fear. Mother course of three things. Everywhere, wherever you go, there is a question: what is going to happen? And you can find expectation, anguish, and the fear. Three things everywhere, wherever, in your inside and outside. So you can find anguish, expectation, and fear. What is going to happen? That is the repeatedly asked the question. Oft ask the question, not to me, but to the Divine Mother. There is only one reply: if only man could consent to be spiritualized. So, if man consents to be spiritualized, in the Life Divine, in the very first chapter, you have seen human aspiration. There itself, one beautiful quotation you can find from Sri Aurobindo, that is oft quoted and oft, replied quotation. All problems of existence are essentially the problems of harmony. Lack of harmony, problems of harmony is creating all type of problems of existence. Here also, you will get the true result. You will live peacefully. That the true Ananda will reign here, provided one condition. For all these things, only one condition is required: if only man could consent to be spiritualized, then, and perhaps it would be enough if some individual become pure gold. In Savitri, you have heard that oft quoted dialogue most of the time, of course, in many occasions, in many scenario. I have also quoted, even if the struggling world is left outside, one man's perfection still can save the world. You forget about the struggling world. It is a world, a dangerous world, struggling world, clashing world, tussle and the fear, agony, anguish, everything you can find. This earth where we have chosen to descend and work. We are where we are really born. But here in the course, even if the struggling world is left outside, you forget about the world. 850 crores people are here on the earth. So you forget about them. Even if one man's perfection still can save the world. One man's perfection, if there is perfection in a single person, that can also save the world. So here also, quotes Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. Mother quotes, if one becomes pure gold, not 24 karat, not any, so not any mix, no amalgamation. So one man's, if someone becomes pure gold, for this would be enough to change the course of events. If mother course. If someone chooses to be a pure gold, if pure gold, that is the use pure gold, one man's perfection still can save the world. That was from Savitri by Sri Aurobindo. Here, mother course, everything will change. If someone chooses to become a pure gold, then the course of history can be changed. The course of events will change the course of events. We are faced with this necessity in a very urgent way, immediate requirement. As you can know, you have to give the blood, otherwise there is very little possibility of survival. So that is what you have seen. So we are faced with this necessity in a very urgent way. So this courage to become a pure gold, become a pure gold. So this heroism, this courage, this heroism with the divine, part which the divine wants to us. So what the divine wants, not from our demand, nor situations demand, not the environment's demand, atmosphere's demand. It is the divine, from divine wants us to do. only not to use to fight against one's own difficulties, one's own imperfections, and one's own obscurity. So, why not to use it to fight? That heroism, that courage, that must be there. What to do to fight one's difficulties and one's imperfections, and of course one's obscurities. To fight against all these, one's personal imperfection, obscurity, and difficulties, two things are needed. That is courage and heroism. So these two are needed, and of course definitely needed. Why not the heroically face the furnace of the inner purification? Furnace of the inner purification. For that, actually, that heroism is required. In ordinary way, it is not at all possible. For that, you have to go, so that it does not become necessary to pass once more through one of these terrible, gigantic destruction. Initially, in the past, maybe not be in the recent past, but in the past it has happened. Terrible and gigantic destructions which plunge at an entire civilization into darkness. That is what. That will come. What is that? You know, a terrible and gigantic destruction which is bound to put entire civilization into the darkness. For that, actually, you must have the two things. One is courage, second is heroism, so that that aspiration of inner purification can be born. You can face and so and there will be real change. You can find your difficulties, your imperfections, your obscurities. It is bound to change. And finally, in the last word, Mother really quotes beautifully. So this is the problem before us. This is the problem before us. It is for each one to solve it in its own way. So my problem, my style of solution, and your problem and your type of solution may be different, because our personality and nature is different entirely. It varies from person to person. But thing is that if there is a problem, there must be a solution, and you have to get the solution in your own way. That is what the requirement. Anyway, two things are there. That's what we find on the way. So, what is that? That beautiful things we have seen. That divine, we must see that divine interference. We must know the divine. And the second thing, what really we are going to do, that is on the spiritual. If man consents to be spiritual, Sri Aurobindo tries to explain truth is the foundation of true real spirituality. Spirituality is just not what we are claiming, what we are beholding in our naked eye. Sure, here in the course, truth is the foundation of true spirituality, and courage is the soul. So already we have discussed that courage, and second thing we have discussed here. The two things you must have, heroism. So here Mother quotes the truth is the foundation of real spirituality, and courage its force. Courage its soul. And second, Mother quotes, beyond the metal and moral being in us, a greater divine being that is spiritual and supramental. It is there, nowhere you have to find. It is there within us. Spiritual life, what we are really leading, we claim to be spiritual because we are staying in ashram. We are not married. We are doing divine work. We don't have family. So anyway, we claim we have spiritual because we have joined that club. Spiritual life is a growth, not a sudden and inexplicable miracle. Nothing happens through miracle. It is a growth, step by step procedure, steadfast. It is a growth. The spiritual life is the flower not of the featureless, but a conscious and dissatisfied, diversified oneness. So, spiritual life is a flower not of a featureless, but a conscious and diversified oneness. So, here, spiritual, how it works. It works from within outwards, the way of materialism, to work from inwards. So work from inwards, within outward. Within outward is the rule. And finally, we can know about the divine. We must know divine has to hail himself in order to meet the human, because human is unable to see and feel the power and the presence when he is manifesting before us. That's what we must know. To the materialist, he disguises himself in matter. For the materialist, he disguises himself in matter. For the nihilist, he waits ambushed in the bosom of annihilation. Because in the naked eye, man is unable to know. For that, it is very important. No, divine alone is. That is what we must consider. He expresses himself. He manifests himself in his own style. To the materialist, he distinguishes himself in matter, disguises himself in matter so that he can approach, he can rush in, and he can discover his manifestation. For the nihilist, he waits ambushed in the bosom of annihilation. So, thing is that the divine is our goal, and if we know the divine, and become the divine, because we know the divine and we become the divine. For we are already that in our secret self. It is a turning point. You have to take the proper decision. You have to aspire for. You have to open yourself. You must be surrendered. You must go in your lead the spiritual life to move towards the next phase supramental, and the divine is our object. Mother is there to help you. Anyway, it is a great step, great topic, and at present, with the present scenario, we can consider, truly consider that this is the right time we have to go. That elevation is a must, and we have to go. And in the mother, as mother quoted, explains, we are in the turning point of the history of the earth. In where we have to take the decisive action, not any fluctuating decision. We have to take the action, decisive decision at the decisive turning point that is expected. We have to go not haphazardly, confusedly, but in a very prominent and well planned manner with the divine grace and blessings. Vande Mataram.